Okay, amazing. So I'm actually so glad that that call was on. If anybody didn't miss, the call just on, you missed out because it was really, really good. I don't think it was recorded, but it was just amazing. And she touched loads on mindset, which I thought was so good. 'Cause obviously that's what we're all about this week. So I'm hoping that you guys got something out of last night's call. And tonight I'm just going to carry on with kind of the whole concept of mindset. We're going to do a few tasks together. And I'm hoping it's just going to really like open our minds as to what mindset is and to why it's so important. And you'll notice now, like I think once you start working on it, you notice that when you get on calls, you just kind of it stands out to you. Like, the calls like tonight with Mary, like she was talking about it so much. It is a massive part of everybody's journey, right? And there's no big leader that's going to get to the top without working on themselves and their mindset. Okay, so I want to talk about first of all, believing in yourself. And this is probably the thing that people find the hardest because it requires you to think about you. You're not believing in anybody else, it's you. And it's so easy to not believe in yourself, right? And it's easy to believe that it's not going to happen to you. You could never create a life like that, and you could never create the life of your dreams. And the reality is, if you don't change that and start telling yourself every day that you can do it and start to shift your belief in you, then you probably won't, right? And it's like what Mary was saying on the call, you just have to believe in yourself. And it's so true. And I don't really like this saying like fake it till you make it, but actually I think in this circumstance you kind of do, right? Because you always have to tell yourself every day that you're going to be successful, that you have this amazing business, that you are a recruiting machine, all this stuff. Like I remember when I used to go running, just when I just had Sunny, and I've been running with the running pram with the two kids, and Adrian came with me, and I was like, thank you, universe, for all the sales and teammates come my way today. I am a recruiting machine. And he was like, what on earth are you doing? And I was like, I'm literally putting it out there to the universe, and I'm telling myself that I am amazing at this and I'm going to do this. And you have to tell yourself even when you're not. And in that respect, you kind of have to, in my opinion, fake it till you make it a little bit, because that is what is going to come true, right? And this is what everybody talks about, kind of almost living in that like different kind of reality, a reality that you make. And that comes from telling yourself all the time, you are going to get what you want. And that's how you're going to change your belief. And initially you are going to feel like a bit of a fraud, I think. Yeah, massively law of attraction. You are going to feel a bit of a fraud. Like you're going to feel really silly. Like, if you're talking to yourself out loud, saying all this stuff, like, I can do it. Like, I constantly say to myself, like, I am an MD. And I remember when I was going for QNMD, Cece, she's got no idea what it was. She's like, Mummy is QNMD. Mummy is QNMD. You have to just get everybody to say it to you, and you probably will feel a little bit silly. However, it's that uncomfortable feeling, the challenge that you are giving yourself, that means you are allowing yourself to make progress, right? And this is where most people fail to develop that self-belief, because the belief that it could happen to them, because they won't consistently tell themselves or the universe they do believe it. And it's just like a vicious circle, right? And that's it's like a wall you have to break through. So this is something that I actually do every day now. So with my meditation, I sent a little video in the group earlier about the different guided meditations I use. One of them that I use is basically got what we call a mantra, where you kind of like say something to yourself out loud. And this one is on that, it's called Boho Beautiful Meditation, I think. Well, it's like the yoga lady. And one of the ones that she does, I really like the mantra she does, and I'm going to read it out to you, but feel free to write your own one. But something where you just you're doing your deep breathing and you say this to yourself over and over again, right? And the one that she says is, today is a beautiful day of opportunity. I am exactly where I need to be. I open myself to the universe and trust in the unfolding of my life. And as part of my meditation, I will sit there and I will say that to myself. And it's like a 10-minute one over and over again. And that is really powerful, because what you are basically saying is, you are saying that, you have got so much opportunity coming your way. You believe that you are exactly where you need to be. You're open to the universe and everything it's offering you, and you trust in the unfolding of your life. You're building that belief in yourself by doing this every day. So that is one that I would try and do that each day. And like I said, if you want to write your own one, write your own one. But I really, really like resonated with that one when I listened to it. And like we said yesterday, when you're looking in the mirror in the morning, you say like, I am SSC or I am QNMD. Like, look and tell yourself in the mirror that you believe in yourself. Tell yourself you can do it, because this is the thing people find most uncomfortable. I hated doing this when I first did it because I felt really stupid, and it just felt a little bit like I was a fraud, because I was like, oh, like, do I really believe in myself? At that point, no, maybe I didn't. But I knew that in order to develop that belief, I had to get uncomfortable and do those things that ultimately just make me feel a little bit like, oh, I can't do it. Because that's where you make progress, when you feel like you almost can't go any further, you keep going, you keep going, you keep pushing, the wall breaks down and you move a little closer. So another little task that you can do at some point is write out a little mantra for yourself, or listen to one that really resonates with you in terms of your self-belief. We have to believe in ourselves in order to be successful and to develop a strong mindset. Okay. So the main part of tonight's call I wanted to go through is talking about failure. I can never say that word, failure. And there was a really good quote that I read in a book. I can't even remember which one it was. It was one I was reading the other week. And it said, I've written it down, it's your failures that really make you grow up, grow strong, and grow to be the person you could be. And I was like, I love that, right? Because I think actually when we're thinking about failure, still struggle to say that. This is something that we are almost taught to fear, when actually it's probably one of the most important components to success. And I know, like from a young age with me, like I was always massively into sport. I'm a sports teacher. It was like, if you don't win, you're a loser. Like, I'm guilty of saying this is really bad. I say to the kids I teach, if you don't win, you're not coming home. Like, I'm the worst sports teacher ever. But it's that kind of like mindset, isn't it? Like, you've got to win, you've got to win, you've got to win. And obviously, yes, we want to win. However, where I've really shifted recently in my mindset because of working on it is, yeah, okay, if you don't win, like, yeah, you've not won, but you haven't necessarily lost, because you can learn. And actually, if you fail, that is where you're going, the learning process really takes place, And often people love to focus, don't they, on someone's success, and we like to almost hide their failures. That's why, like, I really love it when people get on training calls, like Olivia Measures, who for me, when I first started, she's someone that massively seemed so successful. Like, I couldn't resonate with her because I was like struggling with my business, and I was like, oh, I can't relate to her. Whereas now when she opens up about actually, yeah, she had this massive success, but she's also had failures, I relate to that because it's real, right? And there will never be anybody's journey, never, that they've got just success. And you might start your journey with fast success, and if that's amazing, if that's you, then amazing. But you might start your journey with slow success, then all of a sudden get massive quick success. Okay, but at some point you're going to come across failure. We all are at some point. Nobody in this business or in life really is going to get to 100% success without ever having like a hardship in terms of failing. And when this happens, right, when you start to fail, you have two choices. You either let the failure consume you and you give up on your journey and your dreams, or you choose to learn from the failure and let it mold you into the person that you were really meant to be. And I love that, because this is where I think it's a shame that people like give up on themselves. And this is, I think, is why I get so passionate about, talking about mindset and doing calls like this, because I just think it's such a shame when people leave this business because ultimately they haven't let themselves be molded into the person they were meant to be, right? Because that's what this business does, isn't it? It enables us to be the person we were really meant to be. And you know what? It's so easy, isn't it, to work towards something when it's plain sailing, everything's going your way, you feel amazing, you've got an order, you've got a team, and you're like, oh my God, I am winning. Like, we've all had those months where we're like buzzing, we love it, and we're like, this is the best month ever. I'm going SC, I'm going to do this. But then when it gets hard, right? And the hardest part is continuing when the going gets tough, right? We all know it. It's so hard, but it's in those tough moments where your mindset is more important than ever. And working on your mindset at this point should become your biggest priority. It should be, because that is the only way you're going to get yourself out of it. And you'll know if you felt it. You will know if you've been in that situation where you're like, oh my God, maybe you've considered you can't do the business anymore, like you just don't even be successful. You're questioning yourself, and you're going to feel that. You are, because of course you are, right? But you have to get yourself out of it. And at that point, you will have started, or you would have had to work on your mindset. And maybe you didn't, right? And maybe you got stuck. And then maybe you're wondering why you're stuck at a position for so long. Because I've been here, you know, and you think, do you know what? I was missing that part in terms of like working on myself. It took a back seat. It didn't take a front seat. It took a back seat. And do you know what? You're not always going to be motivated either. Like it's not easy, but that makes it even more difficult. So in those times where you're feeling rubbish, maybe stuff isn't going your way, you realize you've got to work on your mindset, and you're like, do you know what? I just can't be bothered. I'm just not motivated. And we've all been there, we've all said it. You're not motivated, so guess what? You don't do anything. You don't do it, you find it harder. But actually, what you have to do is, because even when you're, you know, PMD, you're going to have these times where you come across failure. You have to train yourself to always be disciplined. And that is such an important part of mindset, is discipline, right? So when you go through times of failure, it's going to be hard to prioritize your mindset each day because you won't feel like doing it, but you hold on and you learn to be disciplined, right? And I was talking to, I think it was to Simon Bowler actually at the office about this, and he was asking about my business, you know, how it's going, all that kind of thing. And I was saying how, you know, yeah, people have left, pay lines dropped, whatever. But I said, I feel like we've gone through a bit of a storm this year. Like last year was all a bit of a bubble. It was like, oh, we're cruising through promotions, loving life. And then this year it was like, bam, bit of a storm, stormy sea. And it was like, oh, whoa, okay. Testing the waters, who's going to stay, who's going to stick, who's going to go. And I was saying, like, you know, people have held on through this storm. They've held on so tight. They've bucked themselves up. They've believed in themselves. They've committed to this business, and they have got through the storm, right? Other people, they've let go. They've let go. They have not been disciplined enough to stay put and to hold on. But if you have, and you obviously have because you're on this call, then that's amazing, because you've already developed that level of discipline, right? And all this business is getting better at your mindset, is increasing that level of discipline so that you are always able to work on yourself when you almost can't be bothered to. And if you are showing up every day in your business, believe me, you are working on your mindset whether you realize it or not. You may be just not working on it hard enough. And all you have to do is up that a little bit, you know? And we all saw people, didn't we? Like this year, we've all seen it, and people, you know, who have left their companies to go to other companies, and now they're asking to come back, and they're missing out, particularly, you know, now with all this amazing stuff that's going on within our company. We see everybody thinking like, I wish I'd held on through that storm. I wish I'd held on, you know, and they didn't. Whereas you did. So you are developing that level of discipline every single day. You know, every time you fail, you are developing more motivation, you are developing a stronger belief in yourself, and you are developing that, like, just that determination, you know, that discipline to do it every day. And if you look at everything you go through and everything that happens to you as the universe's way of teaching you something that then you won't question it, right? And this is something that's really helped me recently, helped me in loads of ways. You know, if I look at something and I'm like, this is not of my making, it's not within my control, this has happened, you know, it's happened for me to experience, and I've got to learn from it. And that's how I look at it. That's how I choose to look at it. And if you look at that, you won't feel frustrated. It's like I was talking to somebody before, and, you know, we were talking about when you are stuck at a position or whatever. And I said, well, yeah, but if you believe that you know, it's the universe always has your back. You know, I absolutely love that book. If you haven't read it, read it. If you believe that, and you like trust the process, and you just believe that everything you go through is something you have to learn, you literally can't get frustrated at where you're at. Because if you get frustrated, what you're missing the point. The point is, you're meant to be in that point, in that moment, because you have something to learn, right? You maybe have to go through something, you have to fail through something for you to learn something. Because if you don't fail at all and you don't learn anything, you're not going to be strong enough to be at the place that you really want to be. And that's a really hard thing to accept, because we don't like that, and we get frustrated and we say, oh, you know, I want to be here. I want to be here. Well, maybe you're just not ready yet because you haven't gone through enough failure. Maybe you are, and that's great. We're all different. This is where you can't compare yourself, because it's not going to be the same for any of us. We're all different, but you have to trust the process. You know, you have to work on yourself and just believe that everything is happening for you, you know, at the right time. It's definitely a blessing, 100%. Okay. And it's, you know, rather than believing things are happening to you, look at it, like I said before, you're believing they're happening for you. You know, it's so powerful to think of it like that. Like, no, people just don't think like that in the real world. They don't, you know, people think, oh God, like it always happens to me. But it's, you have to change the way you think about it, you know, and it's easy to get frustrated when things go wrong. It's so easy. Like, but remember, if you get frustrated in a situation when things are not going your way, that is the ordinary response. But like I said on yesterday's call, we are not ordinary anymore. We are extraordinary. You are building an extraordinary life. So therefore, you have to become extraordinary. So you have to think, right, how is someone who is extraordinary going to respond to a situation where they're failing? Okay. They would take the hard response, the response that requires courage, patience, and determination. And it's hard, isn't it, to accept something has happened and look for the lesson to be learned. It's much easier to wallow in that moment, to feel bad for yourself and to feel like, woe is me, you know, that the world's out to get me. That's the easy response. And it takes like a level of discipline and takes time, I suppose, as well, to kind of retrain yourself to not look at it like that. But that is what makes you extraordinary, right? That is what makes all of these leaders who, you know, we hear from, like we heard from Mary on the call, that's what makes her extraordinary, because she's learned to do that. Okay. And it's hard to trust the universe sometimes. It's hard to see that things are happening for you, but you have to make a decision to feel like that regardless. You know, you are committing to feel that way. And you are not going to look at failing as a bad thing. Yes, it's frustrating, but you are going to look at failing as the thing that actually makes you the person you're meant to be. I'm just going to check the chat. Sorry. Yes, it is in my top 10 books. The Universe Has Your Back. I absolutely love it. Yeah, exactly, Sean, exactly. Like it's so powerful. Okay, so I want us to do a little bit of a task together now. Let me just check the time. Time goes so fast on these calls. Okay, so this is the task. I want us to do it now. I did this earlier and I'll share. I've kind of written mine down to share with you guys. But ours will all be different, but probably some will be similar. I want you to think about a time in your business, or if you're really new and maybe it's not in your business, could be in your life or something where you failed, right? You failed at something. And, you know, like I said, it probably will be a business thing, because a lot of you I know have been in the business a while. Maybe you didn't hit a promotion when you wanted to hit it, or that kind of missed a bonus reconfirm month or something like that, you know. It could be something really big. It could be something really small. So, for example, yes, Stace, we're doing it now. Get your pen and paper out. Yeah, do it now, because it'll be really powerful to do it all together, because I know that some of us will get off and we won't do it. Okay, so you haven't got pen and paper, go and grab one. So for example, when I wrote mine down, oh, but my failure is now, I thought you meant to get it now. Okay, right, well, we're going to go with it today. So for me, mine was when I flew to, I say, QNMD last year, and my business got to a 28 grand pay line, and I was like, I'm going to go NMD. I'm going to quit my job. It's going to be amazing. This is it. And I was saying to Adrian, this is it. I've waited 3 years. It's coming. The boom is coming. I've smashed it. I've totally made it. Popping the Prosecco, loving life. I was like, yes, happened. Then I failed. I was like, damn it. And my business dropped and it just like went down. And like, I felt like, I was devastated. And there'll be people on here who will feel the same from, you know, that happened. I was absolutely devastated. I was so sure that that was my time. I was like, this is the big break I've been waiting for. And I thought it was going to happen, but it didn't, right? And when that happened and when my business dropped, I probably did take a few months to be like, oh man, like always did my DMO, always showed up, always will. But within myself, I know I wasn't quite the same, right? Exactly. We said, didn't we? It felt like a bad breakup. It does. Like when you love your business so much, like we do, it feels like a breakup. It's awful. And I was like, right, Ellie Myhill, sort yourself out. You are going to be a national marketing director, but you ain't going to get there for feeling sorry for yourself. Okay. And in that point, I was like, right, I've got two choices. I focus on the negatives, or I look at what's happened and I learn from it. And I was thinking like, right, and it took me a good few months to do this. I was like, what is the universe trying to teach me? And I think I got this from reading so many different self-development books. And at that point, that is where I really leveled up my mindset work, was when my business massively dropped, right? And I was like, right, I've learned how to be a better leader for one. Like I know I had a much bigger team then, but I wasn't as good leader. I wasn't at all. I'm much better now. Okay. I've still got obviously loads to learn, but I know I'm more confident at it. I've learned way more about mindset than I ever did before. And I've learned more about like the ups and downs of business. Okay. So actually, when I wrote down, and this is what I want you guys to do, write down now a time when you failed. So if it is now, okay, first of all, write down why you feel like that. Why do you feel like you were in a time of failure, or when you were, what happened? What was it? Did your PB leg go? Did your pay line drop? Whatever. Did you miss a month reconfirming? And underneath that, I want you to write down everything you've learned from that failing period. Everything you've learned. It could be like a few things, could be 10 things. There'll probably be loads, right? And you know what? Actually, what I've come to realize is, and what I came to realize quite quickly was, the failing of that time has been more value to me than flying to NMD would ever have been. Yes, it would have been great to earn more money, have a bonus, amazing. But I would not be the person I am today if I hadn't gone through that failure. And this is what we have to get our heads around. You know, you have to learn to love failure, learn to love it, because only at that point, when you go through like a failing time, are you going to grow? Are you going to become even more extraordinary? And write it down. What was the universe trying to teach you in that moment when you felt like you failed? And do you know what? By doing, the reason I wanted to do this is because you're going to become grateful for failing at that time. And obviously we know this business, it's up, it's down. It's a business. That's how it happens. You're going to have ups and downs all the time. And by doing things like this and writing down and physically recognizing what you've learned from failing, guess what happens when you have another drop in your business? You don't get beat down as much, you know? Yeah, it's disappointing, but you pick yourself up and you learn from it. And by learning, by doing that, you're becoming a better leader. You're becoming better at this business. So therefore, when you have a team and their business drops, you know, I remember when people's business was dropping and I was like, oh yeah, it's rubbish, isn't it? And I was trying to help them. Whereas like now I feel like I can help them more because I understand actually what failing does to you as a person. It makes you better. And before I didn't really get that. I just thought it was frustrating and it was disappointing. But I was like, you know what? It's not meant to be. Yeah, it's not meant to be, obviously, but what can I learn from it? And that's the point I think I missed for a long time. What can you learn from those times where effectively you feel really rubbish and you feel like you're failing on yourself? How much did it drop? So I was on 28 grand, and then it went not like really quickly. My pay line now, I don't mind sharing at all. I'm at like 5.5 grand, I think it is. So it's dropped a lot. Okay. And some people might look at that and be like, oh my God, that's awful. That's rubbish. Like, yeah, it's frustrating, you know, yeah, it's disappointing, obviously, because you've got goals, but I don't feel like bad about it anymore. And I felt so bad about it at the start. I felt rubbish because I was like, oh my God, I thought I was going to be so successful with this. You know, it's dropped. How I'm going to pick it back up. And I just felt as well, I think the pressure, like I think sometimes we put a lot of pressure on ourselves. And again, this is where mindset comes into it and the whole concept of failing. And we're often too embarrassed, aren't we, to admit when something goes wrong. Like we don't like to say that it's gone wrong. And actually, when you kind of get over yourself a little bit in that respect and you think, well, do you know what? Yeah, it is a bit rubbish, but, you know, I can learn from it. You become so much stronger. And it's like I said, like, you know, yeah, all right, being an NMD right now would be amazing. So whatever your position, if you're going for SSC and maybe you've missed it for a few months or whatever, yeah, you'd love to be an SSC, but I can damn well guarantee that what you've learned from having these times of failing is going to be worth way more than you being an SSC now, you know, 100%. And you've got to think, Anesta. So if you're stuck at 5K for a year now, like what is the universe trying to teach you? You know, that what are you maybe failing at that you feel like you could do better at? And write that down now. Write down all those times where, you know, things that are just not going quite your way and what you're going to learn from it. Because honestly, it will really, really change the way you look at your business. And again, it comes down to that concept of you just can't feel frustrated at it. If you are learning from failing, you cannot feel frustrated by it, because you know that it's just something that you have to go through. And guess what? When you look at it like that, it brings up your self-belief. It's all linked, right? All these concepts that we're talking about over this week, they all link together. And that's why, like, I think it's such a fascinating topic, because it's probably the thing in our business where I think you could talk about for hours. Like, I mean, I could anyway talk for hours, because it's like, it's the whole part of it, you know, it's our business, it's mindset, isn't it? And it's the thing that so many people don't pay enough time to. And if you believe in yourself and your self-belief increases, it's probably because you've gone through more rough times and you're going through more times of failure, that you have to believe in yourself to get through it. And that's the thing, isn't it? It all links together. So let me know in the chat if you've managed, if anybody wants to share, obviously you don't have to at all, any of their kind of failing times, let us know in the chat, because it would be interesting to see what everybody's kind of jotted down. Obviously it's really personal, you don't have to. And just like, you know, look at it like that. Does it make you feel a bit better about it now? Because actually you're looking at what you can learn from it. And if you're having a time, right, you know, sometimes maybe like, I don't know, if you're having a month in your business where it's a little bit quiet or whatever, and you've not had an order and you're like, oh God, I feel rubbish. Like, so what can you learn from that? You know, what can you learn from how you're feeling right now? Okay, do you know what, actually, yeah, I need to up my game a little bit. And I've not like, you know, been live for 3 weeks. I've not done this. I've not done this. It'll just teach you so many different things. And our initial reaction all the time when things go wrong is to be like, oh, for God's sake, and get really frustrated. And it shouldn't be that. And it's hard, but you have to train yourself. It should be, okay, what can I learn from this? How can I get better? Because that is how you continue to grow, you know. And when you hit these positions you want to hit and you hit your goals, you have to keep pushing. Such a good time. So lucky from the team I've built. My failure is not attracting the same type of people. That's on me, not putting in the right vibes. Need to get better. Yeah, I love that, Stace. And do you know what though? Just think like, so you've probably learned exactly, you know, who you are, like the kind of people that you want to attract. And that's, I'm similar like that as well, like 100%. And you've learned that. And actually now you can kind of change it a little bit and think about actually, who are you and what are you putting out there? So when your creativity go, when your creativity goes, so this is a really good thing. And I was talking, this is kind of going off topic, but I was talking to, my team about this before, is, you know, thinking about like the value you're giving. We talk about this all the time, but getting really like nitty gritty with it. So if you're feeling like uninspired and you're lacking creativity, think about you, right? Which might sound a little bit self-involved, but think about you. Like, what can you offer people? Why would someone follow you if you did not do Juice Plus? Because sometimes when you get like a lack of creativity, it's because you're not really focusing on you enough, if that makes sense, and sharing you. So for example, when I thought about this, I was like, right, if someone, and I have people who are on my page and they don't order with me, they don't join the team, and you send out this classic messages being like, oh, just doing a clear out. And they're like, oh no, I love your page, please keep me on. I'm like, just order with me then. But they don't, they want to stay on there, but you know, maybe one day they will. And I think, why are they on my page? So think about that. Like, I know it's because I talk about mindset all the time, and I've got 2 ridiculously crazy children. I dance around like a Fruit Loop. Like that's why they follow me, you know. And that's what you have to think. Like, yes, obviously you promote the product and the business, that's what you get like paid for, but you inspire people for so much more than that. And this is where you have to give yourself a lot of credit, and it comes back to the self-belief, doesn't it? So just think like, who are you? What are you about? And I struggled with this for so long. I found it so hard, but it comes back to kind of giving that value. I'm just going to read a few more. Oh, my chat's, oh, okay. Still not where I want to be, but I know I need to do better and be better. Believe more, believe in the process. Yeah, 100%. So just think like, right, again, in this time, like, what can you learn from where you are now? Like, what is the universe trying to teach you? Oh, I'm running out of time. Okay, amazing. Oh, I love these. Thank you so much for sharing them. And I think it's like a bit, what's the word? You know, when you feel a bit odd and it's just something different, right? When you think about mindset and you think about changing the way you think, it's very hard because it's so different to what you've always done. And things like this it's different, isn't it? And it might feel a bit like, oh, I feel a bit awkward. But remember, if you feel uncomfortable when you talk about things like failing and, you know, really open up and get quite deep about it, that means you're making progress. Because when you get uncomfortable, that is where magic happens. Like no magic ever comes from just feeling comfortable, like, you know, cruising along. It doesn't work like that. Yeah, I love that. I absolutely love that, Lee. And do you know what? This is something that I had to really get into my head as well for a long time, believing you are where you are, as I know I need to grow 100%. And it comes back to, doesn't it, when you fail, you're not failing, you're not losing, like I used to always say, but you are learning, right? Every time you fail, you have to learn something new. Oh, I love it. So I hope that was useful. I'm going to leave it there because I don't want to waffle on for too long. But again, we're going to do another task tomorrow. And obviously we've got Thursday night. Thursday, I know we've got the PJ call. I'm just going to stop the recording.